Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands and waterways on which we are recording today. The Wurundjeri, Wurrung and Bunurong Bunwurrung people of the Eastern and Greater Kulin Nation. We pay our deepest respect to their elders, past and present, and we extend that respect to all First Nations people listening today. We also honour their sovereignty was never ceded. We acknowledge their enduring and unbroken connection, as well as their contributions. Their storytelling, their continued fight, deep understanding and commitment, and their continued care for country, lands, waterways, sky, culture and communities. We stand with them in their ongoing calls for truth-telling, treaty, sovereignty, justice, land rights and reconciliation. This was, and always will be, Aboriginal land. What if I told you that the beating heart of Australia's labour movement once echoed with gunfire, a daring heist in 1915, and a shooting that nearly rocked the entire Union world? From revolutions to reforms, beer-soaked celebrations at the curtain, and a global push to get it on the prestigious UNESCO World Heritage list. This is the story of Trades Hall, the oldest operating workers' hall anywhere on the globe. So, before we get too fired up, please hit that like, comment, share, subscribe right here on YouTube. Plus, if you would, please like, comment, share, and follow Down the Yarra on Podbean, and across all our socials for more wild local stories from Naarm, Melbourne, and beyond. Before we begin, quick heads up. Today's episode briefly includes references of historical shootings, political corruption, and labour unrest. So, if this is not the right time for you, completely understand. Your well-being comes first, of course. Please either consider to pause, skip, or choose one of the lighter episodes. But if you do choose to go with this episode, as always, please remember to watch and listen with care. Welcome to Down the Yarra, the podcast that takes you on a deep dive into the heart and soul of Naarm, Melbourne, and South Central Victoria. Whether you're a local or just curious, this podcast is for you. Hey, I'm your host, Andy. Today we're taking you on a deep dive into the historic scandals and goings-on inside Carlton's Trades Hall. Taking a look at the monumental 8-hour monument just down the road, we might just sneak a quick cheeky pint at the curtain over the road while we're here as well. Right, perched on the northern edge of the CBD, Trades Hall was born from the 8-hour movement in 1856 by the stonemasons and other workers. It was a whole world first victory for workers who marched from University of Melbourne to Old Parliament House on Spring Street, demanding that they receive 8 hours labour, 8 hours recreation, and 8 hours rest. Funded by donations from stonemasons and unionists, the original Bluestone Hall opened in 1859, and over the decades grew into the architectural time capsule of solidarity, sacrifice, and social progress. Right, let's fast forward to 1915, time of war, rationing, and radical politics. Inside Trades Hall's shadowy corridors, a safe stuffed with the Union funds was cracked open in a daring after-hours heist. Not long after, gunfire echoing down Victoria Street in the city. Trades Hall caretaker and policeman were shot dead, trying to protect the building. The culprit was never actually caught, vanished into whispers, but today historians and archivists still trace those ghosts into the hall's basement. Although some say the culprit might have been part of Squizzy Taylor's gang. But who knows? Truly. It's truly a Melbourne mystery and reminds us of how passion politics spill over into violence today. Once again, we must fast forward to the 20th century. The Trades Hall Council is now pushing for a place on the prestigious UNESCO World Heritage list. Why is this? Because it represents a global first for workers coming together to build their own home of democracy, education, and solidarity. Every crack in these bluestones holds a story of struggle. From equal pay for women to LGBTQ plus rights and industrial reforms that have and continue to reshape modern Australia. Just over the road, just across Lygon, still stands the infamous Curtin Hotel, a favourite watering hole for politicians, musicians, and especially those and unions alike, especially when the Labor caucus was in session. It's where deals were whispered, songs were sung, and many a late-night debate turned into early morning regret. And just down the road, on the corner of Victoria and Exhibition Street, just up from the old Melbourne Jail and the Emily Mack Institute, now part of Barring IT in the city, stands the 8-hour-day monument, which was erected in 1903 and now stands as a firm reminder of the revolutionary Melbourne spirit when ordinary workers changed the world forever. For a fascinating virtual deep dive, check out Sir Tony Robinson's Time Walks Carlton episode on YouTube. He wanders through the streets around Trades Hall and covering stories that you won't find in any textbook. And if you're craving a cheeky pint, at the end of good yarn, hit up Drinking History Tours. They're real on Trades Hall, and their 8-hour monument is a beauty. They've even just whole write up on their site about the curtain being an extension of Trades Hall. So DM them at Insta for a 10% discount. Use code TikTok for Carlton NCU and CBD tours. You'll be glad that you did. Next time on Down the Yarra, we just head around the corner to meet Carlton's own dodgy 1800s politician, Mr. Patrick Costello, a man so corrupt that he makes modern pollies look like saints. Yep, that's right. He even presided over the Victorian Legislative Council that decided to beautify Drummond Street with some seriously boozy results. If you would like a deep dive into Melbourne's union roots and a bit of the rebellious spirit thrown in, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe here on YouTube. Also, while you're at it, press like, comment, share, and follow us on Podbean at Down the Yarra, and across all our social channels for even more stories from the past, present, and future of Naarm-Melbourne and South Central Victoria. As always, I'm your host, Andy, and remember that behind every great movement, there's a pub, there's a union hall, and a story that's truly worth telling.